Hey folks, we're back. I'm your host BKP. We're live here at Sycamore Crossing in downtown Blue Ridge. A little cool this morning, Dr.
Yeah, I
Whaley.
just had to leave and run in there. And this is a really old Thrasher hockey jacket. The quickest thing I could find. Well, I was about to freeze. It was 54 degrees on my porch. Heat wave. Global warming.
All right, Dr. Whaley's about to freeze, but we're not going to let it happen. You know what? I want to say hello. I know last week you were on the show. I'm the one that was not here. Give me just, I know you and Rick got into it, but give me just a brief, how did you enjoy Russia?
Well, I'll tell you, it was great. And, we showed a video last week, and we saw people from the lowest level of work cleaning tables to the co-director of the astronaut program. We probably had one-on-one conversations with at least 30 Russians. And to a man, they said socialism and communism are failed experiments. We are trying to dig ourselves out of socialism, and anybody in the United States with socialistic ideas for your country doesn't know socialism. So with that,
good.
I want to say there's a lot of stuff happened this week that you can talk to your expert panel, and I think that you were talking about my friend Johnny. Johnny and I are Buckhead.
I knew
Johnny
that.
and I are Buckhead boys. Went to the same high school, and I was in contact with his chief of staff. What's today? Friday, Tuesday and Wednesday. So I think the biggest things to discuss with the expert panel is this chicken sandwich war and the crowding and the discourtesy that they showed in the Costco in Shanghai when it opened yesterday. So those are probably much more. Those are much more important than Comey or the Senate or the fact that Epstein was involved in all this stuff. Don't you think the chicken sandwich war and the Costco?
Well, I tell you what I'm going to do. When I get to the panel, I'm going to open with that, see how they go. If they go with that, we will.
All right, I just wanted you to know. I mean, I keep up with all this stuff, My wife's the one that dives a deep rabbit hole, and I've been trying to solve the chicken sandwich war for 2 days, but I can't get it up here. Go ahead.
All right, anyhow. Hey, listen, we want to thank North Georgia Cancer Research Center, affiliated with Northside Hospital. We appreciate them for this segment. I don't have them pulled up here.
Good, I'm getting ready.
I have 3 phones now. I
know that. All you need is a few pieces of paper here, and I got about 30. I want to say, first of all, that the questions we've got this week, I could do 2 hours on each of them. You want 2 hours on each or no? You want 2 hours on each? All right. So the first question is, someone told my mother that everyone has cancer cells, but it only affects some people. Do we all have cancer cells?
I've heard that in the past, that we're all carrying it.
You got it. Put it up. Put the first one up there, because at the end of this, I hope that within the next few minutes, you'll have some appreciation of why you need to do things that support your immunity. And that means exercise supports your immunity, good diet supports your immunity, and staying away from things that we know cause cancer mutations helps your immune system fight which ones we have. Put that first big old one up there. It says cancer arises from gene mutations. So we're going to talk about everything on the right-hand side of this page. The first one is germline mutations. That means sperm and egg, and it came back from before you were born. So that is not what this question's about.
Okay.
This question's about somatic mutations that occur to the human being after he's born. And remember, I believe it's a human being after its sperm meets the egg, and that we're not going to get into abortion or anything. So we're going to talk just about the non-inheritable onset of mutations that cause cancer cells to occur in the body, which is really what this question's about. So just go to that next one there, and we'll flash it up for just a second. There are a variety of these causation things that we've talked about before, and we were talking about colon cancer one time, and right. I said that my wife's mother is one of a SIB ship of I think there were 10, one died, that leaves 9, and 5 of those 9 have had colon cancer. So if you look at this hereditary MLH1 mutations, well, that's just hereditary non-polyposis colon cancer, or Lynch syndrome. So we know that there is a genetically linked form of cancer. This is the kind we're not talking about. So put that down again. All right, you ready? Now we're getting into science. What are those things?
DNA?
Yeah, you go. Chromosomes and
Right.
DNA.
Yes.
All right. So causes of cancer. Cancer.
I noticed those. I recognize them from some textbook, like in the 9th grade.
It's good. Or from about 20 more of our old segments.
Okay, there you go.
All right, all right. So cancer starts with a mutation in the DNA.
Right. Okay.
All right. And what a mutation means is a change in the DNA sequence. So we're not going to get all into this down here. You can duplicate them, invert them, delete them, insert them, translocate them. So we're going to go from the DNA, now we're going to the cell. And then I'm going to slow down here just a minute after we get to the end of this one. So up here you got a normal cell.
Right.
It has one mutation, second mutation, third mutation. This cell's dividing every time. So this cell now became 2 and then it mutated. So way down here at the bottom, after you've got about 4 or more changes that have occurred in sequence, you get a malignancy. You got that? Pull that one off, and I want to talk about lung cancer just a minute. All right, we know that there are people here in these mountains, particularly ones who worked in the copper mine over there, who've smoked 2 packs of cigarettes a day for 50 years, and they may have emphysema and chronic obstructive lung disease and cough and wheeze and be short of breath, but they never got lung cancer. And we know that there are people that smoked a pack a day for 25 years or 30 years, in other words, 25% of what they smoked, and they got lung cancer. Same brand, same neighborhood, same everything else. Why did one guy with the lower cigarette smoking get lung cancer and the other didn't? They would have in their tracheobronchial tree or in their body the ability of that enzyme in there to convert a chemical in smoke into something like you'd say the ethylene chloride that's now down in
Right.
Smyrna or something.
Right.
So we'll just say converts it into something that has the possibility, not that it will, but has the possibility of inducing a malignancy. So that would be that first mutation thing up there. It would wiggle up the DNA. All right, once that's happened, it sort of laid the groundwork for some other enzyme to cause a second mutation, and by the time you get to there, you may have softened that cell so much that a chemical within the smoke itself that guy number 1 is still getting,
Right.
but he's not able to make mutation 1 or mutation 2, that mutation occurs. So 3 or 4 different events have to occur before that cancer cell becomes malignant. All right, at every step, once that mutation has occurred, the body has its own immune mechanism by which it can recognize that as not being, it shouldn't be there. So it's like you've stepped on a splinter and your body puts the white cells out and makes pus around it and spits it out, or somebody with the flu sneezes in your face and your body starts to make antibodies against that virus, right? So it can make an antibody against that wrong cell, and it can clear it. Because we're going to get something here in a minute that's going to blow your mind. I want you to jump over and get the one with the lungs. That's the third one on this list. Since I'm talking about lungs, we're going to go to this one in a minute. This is a much longer slide they're seeing there. But this tells you how many cancer mutation events occur in a single year in one patient who smokes. So one patient who smokes will have 150 of these cells in his lung in a year. He'll have 39 of them in his pharynx in a year. You know, the lung's the most common, pharynx is X. You just go across that long chart there. That is a ton of genetic mutations that occur in cigarette smokers in the course of a year. So, to answer this question first, we'll stick to the lung. there will be enough of these so that 150 times in a year, a heavy cigarette smoker's body will have to fight and find the cancer cell. 39 times they'll have to do it in the pharynx. So that question is yes, that guy's getting cancer cells all the time. All right, pull that one off and we'll go back to that long one that's got all the polyps in there. So now we're going to go into what happens next in the, we be careful about time here. What happens next in this sequence? So what happens in this sequence is, this is a colon sequence and not a lung sequence. It's a little bit better. But what begins to happen when I said it was preparing the soil for it to get malignant is that the normal lining of the lung or the colon begins over time to get kind of rough and angry looking. You can imagine that you've got eczema and you keep scratching your hand and it gets a little red and then it gets a little pussy. Next thing you know, you've got something you got to go get looked at. Well, that is happening on a molecular basis. You can pull that one down. That's happening on a molecular basis in your gastrointestinal tract, in your lung, in all those places, all day, every day, and your natural immunity is getting rid of it. Now, how many of these mutations can we actually identify? We're going to stop with this next one on the lung. All right, and we won't go to the one about the breast in the interest of time. But in lung cancer now, if you just look this up, we now can recognize that's bigger than half the pie, right?
Yes, it is.
We actually know what the genetic mutation was that caused that patient's lung cancer. So if you look over here on the right, KRAS and EGFR, you don't really care about that, but I keep talking about targeted therapy. The progress that's been made in cancer in the last 2 to 4 years is not in early detection, it's not in surgery, it's not in radiation. It's in recognizing what gene drove the malignant process, and now we have non-chemotherapy, non-radiation, non-surgical drugs that hit those individual genetic mutations. Now, the bad side of that is, as I've said, those are those drugs that are $10,000 a month, and you got to have some kind of help to get them done. I had another slide that showed the same thing for breast cancer, but basically, yes, everybody is having cancer-causing events in their normal life. Yes, they occur not just several times a year, but multiple times per day, and your immune system is able to surveil those and wipe them out. And you've got to be careful to support your immunity by a good diet, limited alcohol, get rid of tobacco. Exercise definitely supports your immunity. And when you look at the television set, you get CoQ10 and the rest of that stuff, I'm going to tell you BS.
Got it.
You like BS?
BS.
Don't buy the CoQ10. All right?
Okay. All right. That is great information. Sometimes you'll say, well, this one right here, I'm running long or whatever. When it comes to this show and this program and the information that we're giving the viewers out there, I want to tell you how much I appreciate it, because that's very good information. I was told for years, like, everybody's walking around with the cell or whatever.
Correct. Right.
And it's just when it mutates.
No, it's already mutated.
Mutate.
Yeah.
I mean, it's when. Wait, tell me exactly.
It's when your immunity
right,
doesn't recognize it and can't pull it away and kill it.
Exactly. Right.
All
okay.
Right? Because you're getting slammed every day with 100 viruses. You go in a grocery store and you pick up the thing, and you're scratching your skin. The body is fighting stuff all day, every day. You're familiar with it, fighting the flu and the cold, and they stuck your foot. This is at a genetic level, but it's the same thing. It's your body's immunity recognizing something that it's not you and shouldn't be there.
Folks, we want to thank North Georgia Cancer Research, affiliated with Northside Hospital. We really appreciate Northside Hospital for this segment. Dr. Whaley, what is our second question?
Well, I want to congratulate the host, and I want people to put it in their book, because when I flashed that thing up, that was chromosomes DNA and RNA mutations. He jumped all over that like a duck on a June bug, as we say down here in the South, and he recognized it. So he learned something in school up there. All right, the next one.
I've been taking this class with you for
years.
years.
That's right. All right. Now this, we're going to get off. My friend has been on the keto diet for a while, and she's developed a rash and told it was a side effect of the keto diet known as keto rash. Is that real? Can the keto diet make you develop a rash, and if so, what causes this? Forget the rash. We're going to talk about the keto diet and about diets, because I think that's true and unrelated. It's like, I just had a big car wreck yesterday when started chewing Wrigley's spearmint gum. We know they both happened at the same time, but they weren't related. Put up the keto diet one.
Both happened at the same time but weren't related.
Yeah, true and unrelated. That's an answer on college boards. This is an area of so much hype and misunderstanding that we're going to focus attention on diet today.
Just move on. I'm telling you.
First thing here is a keto diet grocery list. And if you look at this keto diet grocery list, which is, look at it, and it's got everything on here. We've been talking about spinach and kale and broccoli and asparagus and all that stuff. But look at it. If you look at every single solitary food group you know about's on there, except cakes, cookies, ice cream, bread, butter, and dessert. I mean, this is basically every healthy food that we've talked about in the past.
Right.
And so somebody wrote them a book about the keto diet, and they stole stuff that goes way back in time we're going to come to in a few minutes. So the issue here is who needs to worry about weight loss, and how do you go about losing weight, and where does the keto diet, or where does any of the other diets with a name fit into this program? All right. Now let's get this next fancy chart up here. Classification of overweight and obesity by the BMI and waist circumference, all right? Now, we're not going to get too technical about this, but the BMI, basal metabolic index, confuses everybody. So if a man has a waistline that is at 40 inches, his risk of every
There's not a need to pause and look at me.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, right.
I didn't. But if he does, he has an increased risk of everything that's on the list. I mean, from dandruff to athlete's foot, every heart attack thing in between. And if a woman's waist size reaches 32 to 35, she's in the same category. So that's kind of easy. So that's the first one. Now, second one here, let's put up this next one. We're going to confuse everybody. So now you want to figure out, I'm going to try and structure my own diet. You got the second one up there? This is the World Health Organization's equations for estimating energy expenditure. There is our train. Ain't it wonderful? Yep. No beer truck either yet. All right, so this would confuse a dadgum PhD here. So here is the science of what is lean and ideal body weight, and how do I calculate my body by caloric expenditure. At maturity, let's say 22 to 25 years old, 85 to 90% of men will be at 20% body fat or less, in other words, a normal BMI, if they weigh 105 pounds for the first 5 feet of height and 5 pounds for each additional inch. Got that in your head?
Yeah, I'm doing the math.
All right.
Move right along now.
Women would be 100 pounds for the first 5 feet and 5 pounds for each additional inch. So a 5'5" tall woman at age 22 to 25 or so would weigh 125, and she should be at lean and ideal body weight. 25. 5'5". Okay, now, once you go above that, you're going above the normal body fat. Now, you can go above that before you get into the obese category, but you're in the overweight category as soon as you go much above that. So, how many calories per day do I need to eat to maintain my weight? So, this is easy. At 20, 25, you burn up 10 calories per pound of body weight per day in just living a relatively sedentary life. Now, if you are fairly active, you can add 25% to that. So now we have a 125-pound woman. She should burn up 1,250 calories per day. If she's a secretary or a legal secretary, 25% of that is going to be about another 400 calories. That's going to get her to 1,600 to 1,700 calories. That'll maintain her body weight. Now, if she becomes exercises, walks, she'll burn up 100 calories every mile she walks. So she can just add that. Or if she plays 6 sets of tennis in 2 hours, she can add 140 calories, but she can't add a jelly donut. You with me still? All right, so now we know how many calories per day you're going to burn up. Now, how many calories have you got to burn up to lose a pound? To lose a pound, you have to burn up 3,600 calories. So, if you're walking an hour a day, which is 4 miles, that means you're burning up 400 extra calories per day. That would take you 8 days to get to 3,200 calories. You would lose 1 pound. So when a guy says, I've been on a diet for 2 weeks and I haven't lost anything, you really don't expect to lose a lot of weight too quickly. All right, now I'm going to go to one last thing and you're going to have a heart attack with it. If you are at exactly balanced weight and diet so that you maintain your average body weight and you add 5 grapes a day to your diet, well, your brain can't see the difference between balance and an extra 5 grapes, right? But if you add an extra 5 grapes to your diet, you will gain about 3.5 to 4 pounds a year. Well, that doesn't sound like much, does it? But it's 40 pounds in 10 years. So you just look at what happens to people when they hit 20 or 25 and they start gaining 10 pounds in 10 years, and then by the time you're in 30s and 40s, they're overweight. So now we're going to go, you do or don't have Jane's, you got Jane's carbohydrate food triangle here. No, this isn't you. This is Jane that published the book. So, this is the key of every one of these diets. The first one that made a difference was called the Atkins diet. Remember that?
Yes, I do very well.
Okay, so now when you read a scientific article in the scientific literature, it generally will have diets. It has the Mediterranean diet. It will have the Atkins diet, which is the keto diet, exactly the same thing. It will have a non-obligate vegetarian type diet in there, but the Atkins diet is the keto diet and is the foundation of the low carbohydrate diet. Now, the healthy one is low carbohydrate, protein sparing. So if you look at Jane's low carb food triangle, and you can take that down, there are starches in there. You see you got beans and peas and fruits, and there's an avocado in there with fat in it, and there's some asparagus over there, and there's cheese and meat down at the bottom. But what's not in there is what? Cakes, cookies, ice cream, bread, butter, dessert, mayonnaise. All right. So now we go to the largest successful diet program in the United States, which is
Weight Watchers.
Weight Watchers, by God. What Weight Watchers has done to the carbohydrate, protein sparing, keto type diet, that makes it so successful is, what do you see at the top?
Rice, sweet
Potatoes. They got potatoes in their diet. And I've said that the Atkins diet and the keto diet and all of those diets that make you lose weight rapidly, that are so successful, they don't have anything white in it. So there's no rice, potatoes, and no pasta.
Right.
Why is Weight Watchers successful by allowing rice, potatoes in it?
I'm not for sure. I mean, I don't know.
Well, they only allow a little bit.
Oh, okay. A little bit.
They only allow a little bit. And it ain't French fries. So a potato's a healthy food with fiber in it. So if you boil it or you bake it, you don't slab it with butter, that's a healthy food. So that's what Weight Watchers has done, has taken the keto type, Atkins type diet, liberalized it a little bit, and then brought you into an AA type group or something to have some support from people around you and hold you accountable by making you come in 2 or 3 times a month to weigh. Whereas the keto diet and those other things at home don't. And if you go on Atkins and keto and you lose from 240 pounds down to 180 pounds, you can't stay on that diet or you're going to go too low. So you begin to revert to your old eating habit. So what Weight Watchers does is it puts you on a diet you don't ever have to change. You don't have to stop doing it because you can stick with that program. Now, this is the simple thing for the listener out there who wants to do a balanced diet, easy to do, and not pay the $700 to quick weight loss centers that Neil Bortz pays. You go down to Ingles or over here to the Food Lion, and in their frozen food section, you're going to find TV dinners by Healthy Choice, Weight Watchers, and all the rest of them. And you go in, and they're $1 a piece. I mean, they're cheap. You go in there and you buy you a big old stack of those things and take them home. And for breakfast, you get up in the morning and you have you a couple of eggs, protein, or you have one of those protein drinks. For lunch, you have little lunch meat and a salad. And for supper, you pull that thing out of the freezer and stick it in there. It's going to be 500 or 600 calories, and you use it. And then you reward yourself from your good behavior with a cup full of strawberries with a little bit of cottage cheese on it at bedtime and walk a little bit. And you have now got either the Nutrisystem or any of the others that mails you your food. That's what comes in the freezer. Or you've got the keto type diet, and you've got exactly what Quick Weight Loss Center will sell you for $500. It's what Neil Bortz is paying to get his weight loss.
You know what I'm thinking about this afternoon? A nice big pasta dish with sauce.
All right, hey Ken, Ken at Blue Jeans, I'm not trying to get you out of business.
I'm just thinking a good pasta dish. No, I get it. It's applying it. So,
right.
Well, let's move.
But anyway, they wanted to know about the keto diet. We did it for them, didn't we? All right. It does not cause a rash. That's true, and unrelated.
It does not. It's chewing gum and wrecking, having
That's
a car
true,
accident. Right.
true, and unrelated. That's right.
All right, folks. At this time, we always like to give Dr. Whaley a couple minutes to share what might be new in out there in the medical world, or whatever you want to close with. This is your time.
All right. What's old is new again.
What's old is new again.
Way back in the 1970s.
I'll take what's old is new again for $200, Alex.
What's old is new again. Back in the 1970s, yours truly was the medical director of the largest narcotic treatment program in the world, and my wife and I used to lecture all over the area about drug prevention. And I made the statement that marijuana use is unsafe in adolescents and in pregnant women because it interferes with brain function and brain development, and that's been in the news the last 2 days. Way back in the 60s and 70s, a great group of experiments were done, which you would not be allowed to do today because of all this informed consent, Green New Deal rules. But medical students and military were given the opportunity to participate in clinical trials and were paid to smoke marijuana. And there was a group that smoked cigarettes that were not marijuana but weren't cigarettes, but they couldn't tell the difference, only 3 times a week for 4 weeks, which is a low amount. The test was calculation, I say, just like balancing a checkbook. And in 3 times a week of marijuana use for 4 weeks, your ability to make calculations went down. We call that the acalculation syndrome. Second thing was that they looked at young adolescents and measured their testosterone, their estrogen for women, and so forth, and they could see a pattern of diminished sex hormones in the prepubertal and pubertal adolescent, and it was said that an expert in this area could go to a high school, and we've done this, sit up in the grandstands and get a gym class on the field, on the court down there. I think you've heard me tell this before, and divide the pot-smoking boys, the habitual pot-smoking boys, from the non-pot-smoking boys from the top row of the grandstand. Because the pot-smoking boys are going to look like Mick Jagger because their testosterone's low, their muscle mass is low, and the non-pot-smoking boys are going to look like everybody else. The pot-smoking girls are going to look like Twiggy and have little in the way of secondary sexual characteristics, and the other girls are going to look like normal 13-year-old girls. Well, that has hit the news. That's hit the news in the last 3 days, that marijuana smoking interferes with growth, development, sexual activity, and brain activity of kids since they've legalized marijuana in so many states, and we could have told you that in the 70s. So what is old is new again. How's that?
That's good. Listen, we want to thank North Georgia Cancer Research Center, affiliated with Northside Hospital. We appreciate Northside Hospital for this segment. Don't forget, you can ask the doc a question. Find our social media page, fetchyournews.com. You'll always see Ask the Doc come up throughout the week if you want to put something there. We try to keep up with that, but the best way to get a question to Dr. Whaley is info, I-N-F-O, info at fetchyournews.com. Put in the subject line, Ask the Doc, send a question, and we'll get it to Dr. Whaley. Again, I appreciate you very much. We're all wearing a jacket. Everybody seems to have a jacket or long sleeve shirts this morning. Beautiful weather.
54 degrees on the porch.
Beautiful weather. I like it. Hey, folks, we're going to take a break, and remember, we're going to come back with the expert panel. Expert panel. They're no longer just the all-star. They are the all-star expert panel, and let me tell you, they're experts at just being good Americans. So you're going to enjoy it. We'll be back right after this.
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
Hi, I'm Rhonda the Mattress Lady, and this is my husband Gary, owners of Mattress Overstocked in Ella next to Walmart. And we want to earn your business. From the time you walk in our door to the time we deliver your new mattress to your door, you will see the difference. Our selection and prices are the best in North Georgia, and customer service is our top priority. So So y'all come on in and let us help you find the right mattress at the right price. That's Mattress Overstocked in LJ next to Walmart.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
Better days ahead. The summer truck event is here at Days Chevrolet in Jasper. So come get a payload of savings on Georgia's favorite trucks, like over $11,000 off new Silverado crew cabs, or more than $6,000 off Colorado crew cabs. Every Chevy truck and SUV is discounted for this special event. Don't miss out. The summer truck event at Days Chevrolet in Jasper, where new Chevy trucks always cost less.
Better days ahead, Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
Circuit World, with multiple locations to serve you in Murphy and Franklin, North Carolina, Blairsville, Blue Ridge, and Ellijay, Georgia. Locally owned and operated since 1985. Appliances, electronics, and furniture. Name brand products like LG, Samsung, Dell, Whirlpool, Ashley, Catnapper, and more. No credit check, only 10% down on furniture, and only $10 down on any new lease purchase. Mention FYN10 for your special deal today at Circuit World.